talking a lot about everything they're doing to keep undocumented immigrants, migrants from coming into the country, from coming into Texas. I want to play some sound that it was rather stunning. Governor Abbott talking about one action that the state is not doing about the border.
We are deploying every tool and strategy that we possibly can. The only thing that we're not doing is we're not shooting people who come across the border because, of course, the Biden administration would charge us with murder.
So I had to listen to that several times to make sure I heard that right. Is Governor Abbott really arguing that the only reason that he hasn't ordered Texas law enforcement to not fire upon desperate migrants, and the only reason that they're not being murdered in cold blood by Texas law enforcement is because they fear they might be prosecuted by the Biden administration?
Well, here's how Governor Abbott put it today during a press conference. He said that he was asked to distinguish what the state of Texas could do legally to secure the border, and so he listed that, and what was illegal, what he couldn't do. And the governor chose to use those words. Like you said, he chose to say that the state of Texas is not shooting migrants because the state of Texas would then be arrested for murder in that case. But here's how the governor defended his own words. Take a listen.
I was asked to point out where the line is drawn about what would be illegal, and I pointed out something that is obviously illegal.
And Jake, not only has the White House condemned the words used by the governor, but they've been widely condemned, the words that he used, not just by the White House, but by Mexico and other organizations.
Yeah, how about we don't kill innocent people because we're not barbarians? Rosa Flores in Houston, Texas, thank you so much.
Let's rock on the mic. What's up, everybody, and you are listening to the best of the Meter Mike radio show. I'm your host, the Meter Mike Speaks, sponsored by New Justice Media, where we are the voice of the everyday citizen. The time is now 52 minutes past the hour here in the Lone Star State, so let's get to it before it's too late. All right, good people, I'm pretty sure you've heard about it, the border, make a run for the border. Yes, Governor Greg Abbott has just put a new law in effect to control the Lone Star State's border. Now, here's the question. Do you agree? This has been a long-standing issue regarding our Lone Star State. It started ever since, I do believe, I would say this. When Obama was elected, it started then. Then it escalated over into Trump, and then here we are with Sleepy Joe. Still talking about the border. But what I find very interesting is that at first, old Sleepy Joe was talking about let them all in, let them all in. Now he's saying if I could close the border, I would if Congress would approve it. Well, Sleepy Joe, it's a little too late for that to come around, and the only reason I believe you're doing it is because it's an election year. And now you're beginning to see the light, but it's too late. You open the floodgates. Now you can't put that genie back in the bottle. You can't put the milk back in the bottle after it's been spilled. Too late, sir, too late. Now the new law would authorize police to arrest people, not shoot them, arrest people they suspect crossed the Rio Grande between ports of entry into these United States, I would say Texas. Abbott also signed a bill earmarking more than $1 billion for more border barriers. Now, as you saw in the video, they got a little touchy-feely about Governor Abbott saying we can't use deadly force because that would be murder, of course, not insinuating what he was implying, but Of course, we're not going to do that, And it was a play on words. Yeah, he could have chose a better choice of words, but he didn't. He says, look, what he wants to do here, we're just going to arrest him. We're not going to use the deadly force. That would be illegal. We're not going to do that. So this is not Nazi Germany. So Senate Bill 3 earmarks $1.5 billion in state money to continue construction of barriers along the 1,200-mile border, and allows the state to spend up to $40 million for state troopers to control Colony Ridge, a housing development near Houston. That far-right publication's claim is a magnet for undocumented immigrants. I didn't know that. So the money will be added to at least $1.5 billion in contracts the state has issued since September 2021 to build about 40 miles of border barrier. As of August, Texas had erected 16 miles of steel bollard barriers in Stark, Cameron, Belvedere, and Webb counties. Now, remember when Trump was in office, he wanted to build a wall, and everyone said no, but now everyone's on board with building a wall. It's just so ironic. Now, Senate Bill 4 creates a state crime. So you got to look at these bills, good people. You got Senate Bill 3, you got Senate Bill 4. Creates a state crime for illegally crossing the border from Mexico, a new land that is likely to force a legal showdown with the federal government. Another Senate Bill 4, this one passed by lawmakers during the third special session earlier this year, would increase the minimum sentence from 2 years to 10 years for smuggling immigrants or operating a stash house. So look out, coyotes, not the four-legged coyotes, the two-legged coyotes. So, yeah. Now, honestly, I mean, really, depending on the seriousness of this, and they think it's very serious, they go from 2 years to 10. I personally believe that's a little harsh for smuggling. That's a little harsh. I mean, I don't know. That's a lot. So let's continue. The laws funding the border barrier and making crossing legally a state crime go into effect in early March of 2024. The human smuggling law goes into effect in early February. And that's a few days from now. So Abbott, who was in Brownsville on Monday to sign the bill, said Texas needs to defend itself from drug cartels, blamed the Democratic President Sleepy Joe Biden's administration immigration policies. Biden's deliberate inaction has left Texas to fend for itself, unquote. Immigrant rights organizations and Democrats do not agree. And former immigration judges said the Senate Bill 4 that makes illegally crossing the border a state crime is unconstitutional because immigration enforcement is a federal responsibility. Well, here's the thing. Okay, I agree. It is. It is. But you're not doing anything about it, which makes the state vulnerable. It does. If you're not willing to do something about it, then you're making the state vulnerable. I mean, you're leaving, in my professional opinion, you're leaving Governor Abbott no other choice. He does have a solemn duty to protect the citizens of his state. The law-abiding, rightful, natural citizens, or the ones who came over the right way and obtained citizenship. But we just can't have people crossing over like that. That happened in England, in Europe, and it was a complete disaster. So we don't mind people coming over. That's fine. I mean, hey, but you got to do it the right way. Federal courts, including the U.S. Supreme Court, have ruled that immigration laws can only be enforced by the federal government. But some Texas Republicans have said they hope the new law would push the issue back before a U.S. Supreme Court that is more conservative since 3 appointees of former President Donald Trump joined it. The law would make it a state crime to cross the Texas-Mexico border between ports of entry. The new crime is a Class B misdemeanor carrying a punishment of up to 6 months in jail. So it's not a harsh crime. It's just the fact that if you repeat, you could face up to a second-degree felony with a punishment of 2 to 20 years in prison. That's what makes it bad. And you pretty much know they're going to try to come back. But the law allows a judge to drop the charges if a migrant agrees to return to Mexico, which they'll turn around and try to come back, which they would. And also under the new law, migrants who decline to return immediately to Mexico will serve their sentence. then be transported by police to a port of entry, and then could face a felony charge for refusing to return to Mexico at that point. Now, the thing is, okay, how you going to make somebody go back? I mean, they say, I'm not going. I don't care. I'm not going. Lock me up. I'm not going. That one, I don't think they figured that one out yet, because if they refuse to go, what you going to do, just throw them over there? I don't know. The new law faces a potential roadblock if the Mexican government refuses to accept certain migrants when they're deported. Now, there are some professors and a former Mexican immigration official have said Mexico is under no obligation to accept non-Mexican immigrants deported by Texas. Okay, so if you're a non-Mexican immigrant deported by Texas, they're under no obligation to accept you. Give that round to Mexico. Number one, you're not a Mexican citizen. Number two, you're not even a Mexican. So I have to side with Mexico on that. They have a right to accept you, not accept you, refuse if you are not of Mexican descent. Let's say. So, no. Now, when asked what Texas would do if Mexico does not accept migrants deported by the state, Abbott said at the news conference, we're going to send them right back to Mexico. Unquote. Quote unquote. Mr. President, I mean, not Mr. President, Mr. Governor, just how are you going to do that, sir? Governor Abbott, I'm going to send them right back. They don't want to go back. This can get ugly. The new law prohibits police from arresting migrants in public or private schools, churches, and other places of worship, healthcare facilities, and facilities that provide forensic medical examinations to assault survivors. The bill doesn't prohibit arrest on college or university campuses, so watch out. So, in conclusion, what do you think about this bill, good people? It seems it's Texas against the federal government. And it looks like if Mexico won't accept them back, well, it gives a real meaning to the old saying, it looks like we got ourselves a good old Mexican standoff. Until next time, this is your guy, Mr. Educator, Mr. Communicator, Mr. Free Thinker. Subscribe, share, and like to keep me rocking on the mic. Have a good night.
Understand you soon, it won't be long. Keep on, keep running.